Happy morning, students. Welcome to grade 6 English class. Today, we are going to have a revision for our upcoming early examination. We have divided the revision schedule into four. The first part 1 consists of the prose, and then part 2 is fully about poem, and then part 3 is about supplementary. And then now we are going to learn our part 4 revision, that is grammar portion. So listen carefully, children. Children, there are 12 grammar portions for our upcoming early examination. In that, the first one is the articles. You can take your classwork notebook and keep near. That is which we have written the definition, rules and examples in our classwork notebook. First, let's recall the articles. Articles means articles are words that define a noun as specific or unspecific. And then articles are divided into two categories. One is a definite article and another one is the indefinite article. These indefinite articles are a and an, and then definite article is the. This indefinite articles means the articles a and an are used to refer to a noun for the first time. They are called the indefinite articles. And the next definite article means the article the word the specifies the noun. It is used when the noun referred to has already been mentioned. The is the definite article. The article a comes before singular nouns that begin with the consonant sound. That is, children, we use the article a before a singular noun beginning with the consonant sound. And then we can use the article a, that is when we talk about a person, a place, an animal or a thing for the first time. And some words begin with the vowel, but the vowel has the sound of a consonant. There we can use the article as a. Although the words begin with with the vowel sound, the beginning sound, you have to go through the beginning sound. If it is u, which is a consonant sound, so we use a before the words. For example, we can say as a uniform, u is there, but we have to use the article as a. And then university, we have to use the article as a. Now look at the example, a rat, a unit, a xylophone. This is the example for the article a. The next is the article an. An comes before singular nouns that begin with a vowel sound or we have to mute the sound of h. That is, we use an before a singular noun beginning with a vowel sound, and then we can use this article an when we talk about a person, a place, an animal or a thing for the first time. And some words begin with a consonant, but the consonant has the sound of a vowel. There we can use the article as an honorable man, an r. There the letters, the sound h is silent. We have to pronounce as an r, o-u-r, r. An r, h-o-u-r is r, but how you should pronounce an r. The first letter h in these words is silent, and the first sound we hear is that of o. Since o is a vowel, we use an before the words honorable and honor. Look at the example, an adult. Look at the word adult, a-e-i-o-u. If the vowel sound is there, you have to use the article as an adult, an x-ray, an heiress. The next, a and an or indefinite articles are used to speak of someone or something for the first time. We used with the noun in general. And then next is the article, that is the is the definite article used to point out a noun. We use the when we talk about a particular person, place, animal or thing. There we can use the article as the. Look at this, the articles a, an and that, the can be used before an adjective that comes before a noun. The next, we use the when it is clear which person, place, animal or thing is being referred to. Now look at the final example, children, where we have to use the article a, and the. We had two glass jars, a red one. So here we are using the first time the red or is the which sound a consonant sound. So we have a singular noun beginning with a consonant sound. So here we have used the article as a, and an amber one, and we have to use here because it is an vowel sound. The amber jar was very expensive. Here we are pointing out, we are specifying the jar. So here we have used the article as the. The second one is the noun. The second chapter is noun. Noun is the name of a person, place, animal or thing we can say. Listen carefully children. A noun is a part of speech that identifies a person, a place, an animal or a thing. In a short form we can say that noun is a naming word. So listen children, noun is the part of speech that identifies a person, place, animal or a thing. In a short form we can point out this as a naming word. So let's recall the kinds of nouns children. The first one is the common noun. Second one is the proper noun. Third one collective noun. Fourth one abstract. And fifth one is the material noun. The first common noun means a noun is the general name given to a person, place, animal or a thing. It's a general name. Whereas this proper noun is the specific name or particular name given to a person, place, animal or a thing. And then the collective noun is a noun that refers to a group of people. And then abstract noun means that abstract nouns do not name any person or place or animal or thing, but they name qualities, relationship, feelings and ideas which we can think of or feel but we cannot see or touch. That is known as abstract noun. And then fourth one, that is the next is the material noun. A material noun refers to the material or substance from which things are made. So look at this. These are the five types of, there is a five kinds of noun. There's a common, first one is the common noun, a general name we can point out. So common noun, example, it is pointed as a teacher, student, a general thing. And then proper noun is a giving specific name. There is a name is mentioned there. Rajapat, John, Delhi, name is specific name is mentioned. And collective name is a group. We can say as a family or me. And then material noun is the refers to the material or substance from which things are made. Example we can say as gold, silver, wood, petrol, rubber, like that. And then abstract noun means we can just feel it, we can't see or touch. So this example you can say as patience, childhood, or you can say as truth, joy and freedom. The next one is the conjunction. A conjunction means that it is a joining word. It joins words, groups of words and sentences. We can recall that the conjunctions such as and, but, or, so, for, nor, yet, because, although, while, after, before, that, so that, unless, etc. And then kinds of conjunctions, that is the three kinds of conjunctions are there. The first one is the coordinating conjunction, second one is the subordinating conjunction, and third one is the correlative conjunction. The first coordinating conjunction means it joins words or phrases and classes of similar grammatical structure or of equal importance. We can point out such as the conjunctions such as for, and, nor, but, or, yet and so. In a short form we can mention as the coordinating conjunction as fanboys. The word fanboys. The next is the subordinating conjunction. The second one is the subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction are the words which join the dependent or subordinate clauses with the independent or main clause. We can say as that, after, before, it, whether, though, although, unless, as, when, and since. Then third one is the correlative conjunction. This correlative conjunction means that are used in pairs are called correlative conjunctions. The words are used only in pairs. Example you can say as both and either or though yet. So these are the types of conjunctions. The next or fourth chapter is the adjectives. An adjective gives more information about a noun or pronoun by answering one of these questions. What kind, which one, how many. Listen carefully children. Adjectives are words that describe or modify other words. Either it modifies a noun or pronoun in a sentence. They provide more information about an object's size, shape, age, color, origin, or we can say as a material. So here some example are given here. Blue car, long rope, what kind is there and which one, this town, last week. We are pointing out here which one. The next, how many. So 1, 2, 3, likewise it is a pointed as a number. So adjectives are words that describe or modify other words such as either noun or pronoun in a sentence. We use different forms of adjectives to compare one person or thing with another. There are 3 degrees of comparison. The first one is the positive, second one is the comparative, and third one is the superlative. Here in the positive, it is used when there is no comparison or the person, the things being compared or equal in degree. And second one is the comparative degree. It is used when two persons or things being compared have more or less of a particular quality. And third one is the superlative degree. It is used when we compare 3 or more nouns and want to express the highest degree of some quality in a person or thing among all the others in the group. Now look at the few example, children. This beautiful is there. How will you convert it into comparative? You have to add the word as more. More beautiful and then most beautiful. So certain rule is there, children. If the adjective is only one syllable, we have to add just er to comparative and est to superlative. So the next is the 2 syllables if it ending with ful or re or ve. Here we have to write in the comparative as more and then most in the superlative form. If 2 syllables ending with y or ly, look at this, dirty. We have to add ier to comparative form and then the iest in the superlative form. And then 3 or more syllables means we have to add more to the comparative form and most to the superlative form. So this is the rule to change a word from positive to comparative and then comparative to superlative. The next 5th chapter is the preposition. Preposition means preposition is a word used to link nouns, pronouns or phrases to other words within a sentence. Prepositions are usually short words and they are normally placed directly in front of nouns. In some cases, you will find prepositions in front of gerund verbs. Listen, children, a preposition is a word that is used with a noun or pronoun and connects it with the other words in a sentence. So for this purpose, we have to use preposition. Preposition means it is a word that is used with either a noun or with a pronoun, and the preposition connects with the other words in a sentence. And then this preposition consists of 3 types. One is the preposition of place, and second one is the preposition of moment, and third one is the preposition of time. The first one, that is the preposition of time. That is, it helps us to talk about the time. We can say the prepositions of verb time such as in, on, at, after, before, since, for, by, till, during, from, to. These are the words we can use as a preposition of time. The next is the preposition of place. It tells us where someone or where something is. So it points about the place. We can say the prepositions such as in, on, under, over, near, at, in front of, between, behind, beside, below, above, likewise. And then next preposition of, you can say as direction or motion, or you can say as the preposition of movement. A preposition of movement tells us about the movement of someone. Look at the word. It tells us about the movement of someone or something. We can say the preposition of movement such as up, down, into, onto, around, across, along, through, towards and over. The next chapter is sentences. A sentence means it is a group of words that makes complete sense. It always begins with a capital letter and ends with one of the punctuation marks such as full stop or question mark or exclamatory mark. And then there are 4 types of sentences, children. One is the declarative, or you can say as assertive, and second one is the interrogative, and third one is the imperative, and fourth one is the exclamatory. Here this declarative sentence means it tells about something. It declares something and ends with a full stop. So look at this example. My father's name is Mark. It begins with the capital letter and ends with a full stop. The second one is the interrogative type. Interrogative sentences ask something. It ends with a question mark. This sentence means that asks a question. It ends with a question mark. And then it begins with the words such as who, what, when, where, why, which, how, did, has, have, can, likewise the question words. And then next, the third one is the imperative sentence. This imperative sentence tells us someone to do, and sentence that gives a command or an advice or makes a request. It ends also with a full stop, like same this like assertive, or you can say as a declarative sentence. But here there is a small difference is there. It gives about a command or an advice or about a request, that is imperative. And fourth one is the exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory sentence shows a strong feelings. A sentence that expresses a sudden and strong feeling such as happiness, sadness, wonder, pity, surprise or thankfulness. And it ends with an exclamation mark. The next is the tenses. That is here we are going to practice only about the simple tense, children. A tenses means that is the tense of a verb in a sentence. It expresses an action. It tells us the time of an action. The word tense comes from the Latin word tempus, which means time. And then tenses are divided into, that is 12 kinds. The first we are going to practice only the 3 types, that is the simple past, simple present and then simple future. The first one is the simple past. Simple past tense indicates an action which is completed at a definite time in the past. Or you can say as an action that ended at a point in the past. So this is known as simple past. Look at the example in the positive sentence. I started. For the negative sentence, we have to use the word as not. I did not or I didn't start. While asking the question word, we have to use the question word such as did in the front. Did I start? End with a question mark. So the simple past means that it ended a point, an action that ended a point in the past. The next is the simple present. An action that exists is usual, or you can say as is repeated. That is known as simple present. I start. Here for this present tense you have to use as a do. I do not start. This is for the negative sentence. If you asked as an interrogative form, this do should stand in the first position to ask us a question. Do I start? The next is the simple future tense. Here this simple future tense means it is a plan for future action. So this is simple future tense, a plan for future action. For the positive degree, this is the rule. Subject plus will plus V1, you have to write it. And for the negative sentence, will plus not you have to use. That is before the verb, we have to use will not plus V1. And if it is an interrogative type, we have to use this will as a question word in the front of a sentence. So will plus subject plus V1. You will win the exam, or I will see you later. This is the type of that is a simple future tense. The next is the verbs. That is a verb means that a verb talks about an action. It denotes a state of being or shows position or belonging. And then these verbs are divided into 2 categories, children. One is the transitive verb and another one is the intransitive verb. The first one is the transitive verb means a verb used with a direct object. We can say as a verb that needs an object to make complete sense. A verb that needs an object to make complete sense is called a transitive verb. Look at this. It refers its action to the object. So this is the example. Raise your hand if you know the answer. Your hand is the object of the transitive verb raise. So it refers its action to the object. So that is known as transitive verb. The next one is the intransitive verb. Here the intransitive verb means a verb used without a direct object, or we can say a verb that does not need an object and can make complete sense on its own is called an intransitive verb. Look at this example. Smoke was rising from the chimney. The intransitive verb here is rise, has no subject. From the chimney tells us where the smoke is coming from. It is not the object of the verb. Here the verb does not need an object. If the verb does not need an object and can make a complete sense on its own, that is known as intransitive. Transitive verb means it needs an object to make a complete sense, whereas intransitive verb means it does not need an object and it can make a complete sense on its own. This is intransitive verb. The next, ninth chapter is adverbs. Listen carefully, children. An adverb is a word that modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So this is an adverb is a word that modifies a verb or either an adjective or another adverb. Here it shows that it surely modifies the verb and then it modifies the adverb also, and sometimes it modifies the adjective also. And then there are types of adverbs. The first one is the adverbs of manner, second adverbs of place, and third one adverbs of time, and fourth one adverbs of frequency, and the next one is the adverbs of degree. The first, now we are going to learn about, that is the adverbs of time. The first is the adverbs of time. It tells us when or at what time an action happens. So look at this, the adverbs of time means it tells us when or at what time an action happens. So these are the adverbs already go before. It tells when or at what time. So this is adverbs of time. Look at the example. I have heard this before. Here we have used the adverb as before. The adverb here we have used this adverbs of time as before. The next one is the adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency means it tells us how often or how frequently an action happens. So always, usually, normally, these are the words we can use as adverb of frequency. It tells us how often or how frequently an action happens. Look at the example. I normally. How? I normally. So it tells us how often or how frequently. I normally go to the gym. Now look at the next one. That is the adverb of place. This is adverb of place. It tells us where an action happens. It tells where. Place means it represents us where an action happens. Here, everywhere, near. It represents about the place. Look at the example. Is that your scarf? There. There is the adverb of place. It points about the place where an action happens. The next is the adverbs of manner. It tells us how an action happens or is done. Adverb of manner means it tells how an action happens or is done. So slowly, badly, the word ends with ly. Adverb of manner. The next is the adverb of degree, you can say. So the next is the adverb of degree. It expresses degrees of properties, qualities, states, conditions and relations. So this is known as adverbs of degrees. It expresses degrees of properties or either qualities, states, conditions and relations. So look at the example. I am fully prepared. Here the word fully is noted as the adverb of degree. The next one is the modal verbs. The verbs such as can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must are called modals, or you can say as modal verbs. They are also called as auxiliary verbs. We use them before main verbs. The first one is the can, where we can use the modal verb can. That is, we can use the can to express ability or to ask permission in an informal way. There we can use the modal verb as can. The next is the may, where we have to use the modal verb as may to suggest something that is possible but not certain. To suggest something that is possible but not certain. The next is the modal verb as must, to express certainty or something that is very likely. To express certainty or something that is very likely. There we can use the modal verb as must. The next is the modal verb such as shall. We use shall in the first person with I and we. Listen carefully, children. We use shall in the first person with the I and we to express the future tense. There we can use the modal verb as shall. The next one is the will. We use will with the he or she or it or they, or you can say you also, to express the future tense. To express the future tense, we use will with the he, she, it, they and you. For this purpose, we can use the modal verb as will. The next chapter is active and passive voice. First, you have to learn that what do you mean by voice, children. We have to recall. Was is the form of the verb that shows whether the subject of a sentence does an action or has an action done to it. And then the first one is the active voice. That voice is divided into two categories. One is the active and another one is the passive. The first is the active voice. Here what subject does, but here in passive form the focus is on the action. That is, an active voice is used when doer of an action is given more importance, whereas in passive voice it is used when an action done is more important than the doer. So here in this active voice it gives more importance for the subject, that is for an action, doer of an action, whereas in the passive voice it gives more importance for the action. Now look at the example. In the active voice, Ram killed Ravan. So while in the passive form, Ravan was killed by Ram. Here in the active voice it gives more importance for the when doer of an action is more important, whereas in passive form this when an action done is more important in the passive form. And then out of 12 tenses children, there are 4 tenses have no passive form. They are future continuous, present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous and future perfect continuous. And then without object in a sentence we can't change into passive form. There are certain rules of their children to change a sentence from active to passive. The first, you have to change the subject to object, and then active voice, that is a verb form, to passive voice verb form by adding the word as by. And third form, change V1 or either V2 to V3 form, that is past participle form. And fourth one, tense should not be changed. So this is a certain rules to change a sentence from active to passive. The first one is the simple present, the present form, and then this is the simple. Here we have to change the rule as a subject plus V1 plus object. I make a cake. Subject plus V1 plus object is there. In the rule we have to change the simple present into object plus, that is am, is or are. According to the object you have to write then V3 plus by plus yes. So here object is cake, so we have to mention the cake as first place. A cake is made. This that is a V1 make will change into made as a V3, that is a past participle form. The next one is the present continuous. In this present continuous the formula is subject plus am, is or are plus V4. V4 means that is the ing. While converting into passive form you have to use the word as object plus am, is or are plus being. Being means present continuous form. Then being plus V3, that is a V3 here is made, past participle form here we have to use. Now look at this example children, that is the active voice means is used when doer of an action is given more importance, whereas in passive form it is used when an action done is more important than doer. There is a certain changes children. The first you have to change while converting a sentence from active to passive. First you have to change the subject to object. If it is mentioned as I in the subject case, we have to use as me in objective case. Whereas we means as, you means you as it is. And if it is in the subjective case as he, we have to write in the objective case as him. And she means her, it means it only, they means them. And then there are general rules. The first you have to change the subject to object, and then active voice verb form to passive voice verb form by adding the word as by, by. And third is change of either V1 or V2 you have to change only in V3 form, that is past participle form. And finally tense should not be changed. You have to write only in the same tense. So now look at the example. Alex wrote an essay about his grandfather's Alzheimer's. Here who is the doer of an action? Alex. Alex is the doer of an action. Wrote is the action. What is the action here? There is a verb mentioned here as wrote. Wrote is the action. And essay about his grandfather, this is a receiver of an action. Then how will you convert into the passive form? First you have to change the subject into objective form. So we have to use this object in the first position, an essay about Almas. Then we have to change there is a verb form we have to change. Here was we have to mention. So either it's the past form you have to write according to the object is the singular, you have to use was. It is a plural form, you have to use were. Here the object is in the singular form, so in the past tense you have to use the verb form as was. And then what is the verb mentioned there? There is a V2 is there. V2 is wrote is in the V2 form. While converted to the passive form, you have to write as written. Written, wrote will be changed into written. That is a V3 form, past participle. Then you should add the word as by. And then if the name is mentioned is there, you have to write the same name. If it is mentioned as I, you have to write in the objective position as me. But here it is mentioned as the name, so you have to take and write the name as it is. Was written by Alex. The next one is the direct and indirect speech. First, we have to recall that what do you mean by speech, children? Report the words of a speaker. Speech means it report the words of a speaker. And then this speech is divided into two categories. One is the direct speech and another one is the indirect speech. This first, the direct speech, it describes when something is being repeated or exactly as it was, usually in between a pair of inverted commas. Or we can say in a short form as the direct speech means the actual words of a speaker. Direct or quoted speech involves quoting the exact words uttered by this person within inverted commas or quotation marks. In a short form, we can say this, children, the actual words of a speaker, and it is present in the quotation mark. Whereas this, in this indirect speech, it, on the other hand, does not have to be within quotes or reported word to word. Here this indirect speech means it will still share the same information, but instead of expressing someone's comments or speech by directly repeating them, it involves reporting or describing what was said. When we give the substance of what the speaker has said, the form of speech is called the indirect speech, or you can say as a reported speech. So now look at the example of direct and indirect speech, children. She said, I would be, that is I won't be coming home tonight. So it is with a comma quotation. Whereas here in indirect speech, she told him that she was happy. So this is an indirect speech, there is no comma quotation. Whereas this direct speech, it states that the actual words of a speaker. Whereas here it says that the expressing someone's comments or speech, by directly reporting them when it involves reporting or describing what was said. Children, there are certain rules is there to change a sentence from direct to indirect. The first term, change reporting verb according to the sentence. According to the sentence, we have to change the reporting verb. And second one, you have to add the conjunction. And third one, you have to remove the comma quotation. And then fourth term, you have to change the pronoun in reported speech. And then change the tense in the reported part, that is the reported speech. And finally, we have to change the time or place adverbial. So again, listen carefully, children. First, you have to change the reporting verb according to the sentence. Second step, you have to add conjunction. The next third step, you have to remove the comma quotation. And fourth one, you have to change the pronoun. And fifth, you have to change the tense. And finally, you have to change the time and place adverbial. This is the procedure to change the sentence from direct to indirect. And then there is a certain conjunction word is there to change a sentence from direct to indirect. If it is a statement, you have to use the conjunction as that. If it is the sentence is an interrogative form, you have to use WH question. Or if it is a yes or no type of question, you have to use the conjunction as if or whether. And then if it is an imperative sentence, you have to use the conjunction word as to. Whereas if it is an exclamatory sentence, you have to use the conjunction word as that. So now look at the example. The first, it is mentioned in the present, that is a simple present form. I like ice cream. So this is a simple sentence is there. This is a statement. I like ice cream. Here we have to use the word as he said that he liked ice cream. So here look at the difference between direct and indirect speech. Here direct speech means it gives the actual words of the speaker, whereas the indirect speech means it expresses someone's comments or speech by reporting or by directly reporting them. It involves reporting or describing what was said. And then you have to note down the tense, children, how you have to change the tense from direct to indirect. If it is mentioned the sentence, the direct speech is a simple present form, you have to change into simple past form. And then if it is in the present continuous form, you have to change into past continuous. Simple past means you have to change into past perfect. And if the sentence is in the direct form as present perfect, you have to change into past perfect. So this is the way to change a sentence from direct to indirect. So children, we have recalled our grammar portions from chapter 1 to chapter 12. You can take your classwork notebook and then the worksheet which I have sent to you. So go through the worksheet and also the definition, rules and example, and then do your exam well. Thank you.